Mr. Prussion, the minister at our church says he does not believe that communism has made any substantial penetration into the pulpits of America. Would you be kind enough to comment on this, please?
Yes, I would. To begin with, communism is a religion. Communism is the religion of the devil. If communism is to conquer the remainder of the world, it must destroy all of the legitimate religions. There is no room in communism for a Moses or a Jesus, a Confucius. Now, especially in America, it has been pretty difficult for the communists to downgrade religion. To be sure, every once in a while there'll be a pink school board member who starts a campaign to kill off Santa Claus. But this is only scratching the veneer. The Communist International discovered over 30 years ago that this would be their big weak spot in the United States. With true communist logic, they came up with a tremendous plan. They simply decided that if they could achieve control of the pulpit, control of the congregation would follow automatically. Offhand, gaining control of a clergyman sounds like an impossible task. It doesn't become easy until you gain control of the man before he becomes a clergyman. So the invasion was focused on the seminaries, where the clergy are educated. Now, with all proper respect to your minister, and I sincerely hope he is not offended by the truth, I believe that the true story of my own experience, a matter of sworn testimony taken under oath, is a classic example of subversion in religion by the communist conspiracy. My first important assignment as a communist was to organize the ministers in the city of Flint, Michigan. It makes no difference really that of the 12 clergymen I organized into a solid communist front, not more than one was a member of the Communist Party. The important thing is that all 12 did exactly what the atheistic Russian government wanted them to do. In a single youth group directed by these clergymen, we groomed 40 recruits for the Young Communist League. On one point, we must be absolutely clear. A so-called liberal who performs exactly as the communist directs him, whether he does so out of stupidity or deliberately, is much worse than a rank-and-file member of the communist organization. Why? Because he uses the respect and influence of a responsible position to mislead the innocent. A left-wing college professor who distorts the truth in order to project communist doctrine is worse than Nikita Khrushchev, because we know what Nikita Khrushchev stands for, and American taxpayers don't have Nikita on salary. But I can be more specific in replying to your question. Yes, there is a widespread penetration of communists in our churches. I have sat in a cell meeting with respected ministers. While a counter-spy, I have traveled with at least one minister of the gospel, namely the Reverend Stephen H. Fritchman of Los Angeles, to a communist meeting. This did not surprise me in any way, because I had learned very early in my career as a communist that the party had infiltrated the pulpits. When I had been in the party for about 2 years, I was visited by a group of national leaders in the conspiracy. They had come to tell me that they were pleased with the results of my efforts, that I had proved myself, and that now the party had decided where I would best fit into their plans. They had chosen a career for me. In September, I would enroll at the Union Theological Seminary in New York to become a Methodist minister. I asked how this could possibly be achieved in view of my record of violence as a communist. They told me not to worry, then explained that the man who had just personally issued the invitation to me was a member of the Board of Trustees at the seminary in which I was to study. That man was Harry F. Ward, one of the founders of the American Civil Liberties Union, an influential voice today in the National Council of Churches, and himself an ordained Methodist minister. I speak this truth without malice or prejudice toward the Methodist Church. What has happened to them is actually easier to understand than the mass infiltration of our State Department, which is under maximum security. Of course, the Methodist Church is by no means the only church so influenced. I single it out here only because I confine my references to experience, and this was my experience. I did not become a Methodist minister. I persuaded my superiors that my abilities in violence made me better suited to placement in the organized labor movement. I've often wondered what the consequences might have been had I gone to the seminary and been ordained as a Methodist minister. We'll never